Hello and welcome back to Pilates with Marilyn. My name is Marilyn Harder, Pilates instructor and Pilates master trainer. This is season 2, episode 17. Today we are going to move into a flow which is relatively benign for my body. With hypermobility and scoliosis, oftentimes I hit a wall where my body does not want to necessarily move, but I know that movement will make me feel better. So this is my go-to workout. So what you'll need is a TheraBand. I have a full looped TheraBand and weights, just so I can get some upper body movement in when my back and my hip are bothering me. I'm going to start out by setting those weights on either side of the mat, so that way when I reach for them I can easily roll over and get them without compromising my shoulders. So with that, we're going to go ahead and place that TheraBand on the legs and make our way down to the mat. When my low back is bothering me, I'm really mindful to make sure that I stay in a neutral alignment. There is a theory, which I subscribe to, that when you have stress and emotion in your life that's unprocessed, you tend to store it in several junctions in your body. For me, it tends to be my hips. Others, it could be your shoulders. So in times of high stress, I return to movement that helps lubricate those joints and move through without overly taxing them. So let's go ahead and take those hands into a diamond, thumbs below the belly button, fingertips to the pubic bone. And I just step my feet out just to find a little bit of tension on that TheraBand, feeling the outer glutes turn on just a bit. And I'm going to find my breath without moving yet. Just big inhale in through the nose. And a full and complete exhale out the mouth. Feel that corset connect 360 degrees. Inhale through the nose. Full and complete exhale out the mouth. Now as you inhale gratitude for what your body can do for you right now. And exhale any negativity you've been feeling about the current stickiness of your physical form. We'll do that one more time. We're going to pair with that our pelvic tilts. Inhaling, rolling that pelvis forward only as far as you can go, and I'm going really slowly. Just seeing what my body will or won't do this morning. And exhale. Rolling back to the pubic bone or belly button. Finding that best imprint. And I just continue to move. I'm going to be moving very gingerly. And I'm actually matching my breath to the movement versus movement to the breath. As slow as my body wants to go, I match my breath with that. I'm starting to invite the deeper lower abdominals, and I'm just going to press into them because I want them to turn on and support my body like a sandwich front to back. I use my breath and that full and complete exhale just to find that connection. Go ahead and go one more. My back is settling, but on days that it doesn't, I'll put a washcloth underneath my low back like we went over in season 1. All right, palms are up towards the ceiling, anchoring my feet down. I'm going to start just butterflying one knee open, trying to really find that lateral glute. And I'm doing this in a very deep, peaceful way. So the intention of my movement today is not for exercise. The intention of movement is exploration. So when my body feels sticky and stuck, oftentimes it's overdoing it. Overdoing it after underdoing it, if you know what I mean. Not taking care of myself physically and overdoing it. I deep clean the house and just the way I lifted or twisted, all of a sudden my right hip did not appreciate me, and my low back then followed. So I'm just exploring here. How does this feel? The quality of movement, is it making things feel better, making things feel worse? I know because of my training and also from my body that when I work these lateral glutes, my hip feels better. I know when my hip feels better, my low back feels better. So this exploration is also a celebration of really knowing myself. And let's go the other leg. And I'm just going to do as many as feels right to me. So if you have one side that's stickier than the other, you can stay there for a little longer. We're just going to be alternating different movements of the pelvis with different activations of the hips, and then finishing out with just a little bit of upper body work. Now I really want you to take this concept of slowing down when your body says stop, and I want you to throw it out the window. When your body says stop, it doesn't mean dead stop. Because what is in motion stays in motion, and what is at rest stays at rest. For me, the times in which my body complains, doesn't feel right, hurts to move, hurts to sit, hurts to stand, the only thing that feels good is laying down. The natural inclination is to come to a full and complete stop. But we're like sharks. If we stop moving, we start dying. And that is just stagnant. And what I mean is that there is some forms of slowing down that are amazing. And maybe that involves laying one day. I laid yesterday. Today is a day of movement. And we'll go ahead and go 2 more. And then we're going to butterfly both at the same time. Now I'm going to bring my hands back to my pelvis and see if I can really maintain a neutral here, because I've been just allowing my body to do what it wants to do, and I'm just hiking my hips right, left, and just seeing if there's anything sticky stuck. Find what feels to be about center, and butterfly open. Both legs at the same time, firing from those glutes. So here is my philosophy on my body. When my body finally says stop, it's because my mind and my soul have been trying to slow me down, and my body is my emergency brake. When my body slows me down, it's not to stop in the middle of the road, but it's to veer away from a path in which I am not meant to travel. Often for me, it's taking on things that don't belong to me. Other people's emotions, situations, even my life circumstances that just feel too heavy. I'm not just feeling my side of things. One of my greatest gifts is that I see things from all sides. One of my greatest weaknesses is that I have a hard time discerning what's mine, what's best for me, where is my greatest good here, versus holistic understanding. All right, we're going to bring our hands back to our pelvis, and we're just going to rock our hips like a boat from right to left. And then we're going to be going into a circle. You don't want to force this, but I do like to, again, find that TheraBand and rock just right to left. I push down on the hip bone, and I'm just inviting exploration, going back to really slow movements. Oftentimes, as I'm working out stickiness in my body, slowing myself down, paying attention, and with loving kindness, listening to what my body needs. Some days it's rest, some days it's movement. Some days I think it's rest, but it's really movement. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and take that marble, roll it to the belly button. See if you can roll it down one side of the diamond and up the other. Again, without overly committing. This is not movement to move, this is movement to explore. Now I want you to really focus on the inside of the hip bones, even pressing down into that space, and see if you can invite the deep lower obliques into the work. And I can tell I have one side that doesn't want to fire. For me, that is the right side versus the left. Now, if you subscribe to any sort of energy work, body awareness, that right side for me is that masculine side, the side in which my voice feels contained. I'm trying to put my voice into a container versus allowing it to just flow free. And as I spoke that into my body, I started to feel that right side fire up. So I'm marrying the physical, the body, with the spirit in movement. And come back to center. Let's go ahead and extend those legs out. And I want you to open those legs up and find a connection with that TheraBand, rolling out into external rotation. Now I'm going to really engage my glutes and just see how my hips feel here. For me, this feels amazing. Some days it doesn't. And I'm just going to hold and then release, rolling the knees in, engage and release. So this practice of marrying your awareness of self to your awareness of your human experience, spiritual, emotional, mental experience with movement. There are great epiphanies that can occur. Now, if you would have thrown this or introduced this to me a decade ago, I would have told you it felt all very woo-woo. But now, living the last 10 years of my life, really paying attention to my body and realizing that what happens in my body mirrors my life. My body mirrors my life. So when things are sticky and stuck in my body, generally, things are sticky and stuck in my life circumstances. I'm resisting something that has already occurred outside of my control. All right, now we're going to go ahead and bring our legs into parallel, and we're just going to slide one leg up against that resistance. If it feels good, you can pick the leg up. For me, it did not, and extend it down. I'm marrying my glutes, hip flexors, and abdominals into one movement. The heel slides when it sort of glides. So it's almost like it's floating. Whatever leg I'm picking up, I'm pressing my hand into the floor and pressing my hand into the oblique, finding that neurological connection of muscle to movement. My breath is meeting the movement versus my movement meeting my breath. Now that feels pretty good. I might progress it. We'll see. As I start to draw that leg up, seeing if I can pull it in just a bit. Just going to hold that there. Engage my glutes a little bit and just draw it in 1 inch, out 1 inch. And I'm trying to disassociate any movement within my pelvis and the movement of my femur. For me, this right hip is where things get stuck. And then slowly I'm going to set it down and extend it back out. That felt really good. Back to the other side. Now, if anything doesn't feel right to your body, intuitively listen. Allow it to be a movement that feels good. Maybe you just listen to my words and you explore something totally different. Maybe you just take this concept, what I'm talking about, and bring it into your own movement practice. I'll go one more. I like to press or touch the muscle I feel like that has not been turning on so that my brain can pay attention, have that conversation. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and bend those knees, and I'm gonna add just my upper abdominals. I feel like my lower abdominals have participated. Now, just to reset my pelvic alignment, spreading my toes wide, I'm just gonna lift my hips and just let them go. I'm gonna do that again. Lift my hips, just let them go. The hips will naturally sink into wherever the tension pattern is. Hands float behind the head, shoulders draw back and down. Big inhale here. Keep that double chin. Exhale right up at that rib cage. Eyes gaze towards the TheraBand. Neck is long. Inhale to hold. Exhale, widen and flatten. For me, I'm trying to think, can I get those upper abdominals to lower abdominals to connect? Like suspenders down both sides. And lower it down. I'm going to keep just one hand behind my head. And I'm going to feel this oblique. One hand to the lower oblique, one hand to the upper two-pack, lower two-pack, if you will. And just see if I can get all 4 quadrants to fire equally. Inhale, hold, exhale all the way. Just because it's one muscle group does not make all 4 bundles fire on each side. Our 8-pack, that's 4 bundles of muscles that fire potentially independently. And exhale. Gonna inhale to hold. Exhale, come up 1 more inch. I'm gonna do this side 1 more time because I can feel that it's not firing evenly. I'm gonna press my fingers a little harder into the lower 2-pack and exhale. Invite those muscles in. Make them work just a little bit harder to match the intensity of the upper. Oh, that feels good. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and find all 8-pack here, or as much that I can touch here, just intuitively. And I'm just gonna take a couple good deep breaths. One more. Remember, we're trying to get 360 degrees of work all the way behind the low back and lower it back down. All right, I'm going to come to my tiptoes now and just let my hips settle 1 more time. I'm going to do some butterflies here on those tiptoes and press it open. It's not uncommon for me as I'm moving just to move, as I'm moving with the intention of exploring my body, reconnecting what's disconnected, for things to bubble up. And those things are generally things I'm processing, things that I have allowed to be stuck. Sometimes it's emotional. Pilates, yoga, any sort of movement can be this mindful. Many people have this experience in yoga because it is so intentional. It is so intentional. Any movement can be that intentional. There's something very powerful about releasing. There's something very powerful about activating. It's your combination. What feels right to you? Making movement a spiritual practice, a space in which you come to meet your body. I heard today that there are neurological cells within your heart, that every emotion that we feel and experience, there's specialized cells that experience this. In that heart, changing your heart rate, triggered by and triggering the vagus nerve, which is cranial nerve number 10. It wanders through every single organ of your body except the spleen. And in it regulates heart rate, blood pressure, which hormones are released. And when you drop from your brain into your body and drop and connect the brain to the heart to the brain, and the overall experience of emotions become full body, you marry two very powerful resources for yourself. And I'm going to go ahead and go 2 more. My hip is already feeling so much better. And last one. All right, we're going to go ahead and plant our feet. We're going to grab our weights. I'm just going to roll over my body to grab it. I'm log rolling using my entire body because when my back is out, I don't want to put myself in any tense or torquing movements that could potentially undo what I've just done. So I'm just going to dig my elbows, lift those hips up just a bit, and then just set them down. Just being very kind. I'm going to just do a couple of these half bridges here. Elbows drawn in, toes spread out wide, feet press actively down. Lift, engage, and lower back down. I'm allowing myself to be ginger with the motion. It's not about how high I lift. It's about controlling the segment of my low back. Can I use that breath to keep that 360 degrees of contraction? And can I just open right up at the hip joint and unhinge at that hip joint without any other subtle movement of my pelvis? So that 8-pack that I was connecting earlier, I'm relying on that in the front. And that 360 degrees of connection, I'm relying on that from the back. Now, as I continue to move, I'm allowing the natural lubrication of the hip joint to occur. Synovial fluid will begin to flow, and inflammation and any stuckness will move through. Now I can apply that to additional processes. God, work through me. As I continue to move, release stuck and sticky emotions. Show me what's there. Allow me to release it for my greater good. We'll go ahead and go 2 more. Sit down the hips, and we're going to go ahead and take those arms up towards the ceiling. I'm going to soften my elbows. These are little 5-pound weights. And I'm just going to stay down, walking my feet open and finding that connection with the TheraBand. Now, I'm going to just hike my hips right to left because when I did that, I felt a little shift. And things feel pretty good here. Now, shoulders draw back and down. I'm only coming out as wide as I can keep my shoulder blades flat without popping the shoulder through and slowly closing. Now, my goal here is to integrate the entire core, that entire powerhouse. I warmed up the glutes, found that pelvic stability. I found that 8-pack of the abdominals, 360 degrees of the core. And now with the arms, shoulders drawn back and down, trying to find that scapular stability and integration of the arms. Joseph Pilates had a principle that he called centering from the powerhouse, finding that balance between mind, body, and spirit, working from the core and fanning out to the limbs. So by connecting this way, my reset is always the same. When my hips are bothering me, when my shoulders bothering me, very common with scoliosis, my low back bothers me, I start from the same space, connect the core. Find that pelvic stability first. Invite in those equal contractions of that rectus abdominis. When it feels really solid, when everything feels really connected, I integrate that upper body. For me, this is what works. I'm very, very intentional with my spirituality as well. Taking a moment, peeling off layers, dropping into my body. I often realize that I'm living in my head. When I live in my head, I've disconnected from my body. So I find my body and reset. We're going to do one more. Bring those hands up. Palms face each other. Shoulders are back and down. Collarbone is wide. When I do that, my ribs pop up and I've got to really pull them down. Bending at those elbows. Extending back up. You can add an additional press if it feels right with that TheraBand, but I'm losing my scapular stability, so I'm just going to focus. I'm allowing my breath to meet my movement. For me, this is not about the arms. It's about that core. It's about that powerhouse. It's about moving my body in multiple directions and connecting with what has disconnected. That has allowed my hip and my low back to complain. We'll go 2 more. Now I challenge you to think about your life. Has there been anything in your life that has caused you to slow down? Maybe things in your life are complaining. We're going to go ahead and take those hands down by our sides, palms up towards the ceiling. And I want you to just come to about 3/4 of the way down, not to the point where your arms are resting, but the biceps are connected. And then I'm just going to bring my legs all the way together. I need to invite those inner thighs in. My outer glutes were feeling fatigued. My right inner thigh has been bothering me, but when I squeeze here, it's not, which means that my leg was not in the right place. And I've been consistently working a different muscle. Just gonna peek down at myself. Looks pretty good. All right, little bicep curls here, little baby ones. They're under gravity, that first third range of motion. I can feel my shoulders wanting to peel up, my ribs wanting to pop. Just gonna close my eyes and concentrate. So here's how things show up in your life. Pain points, things that are not of your best expression of yourself. Could be bouts of melancholy, having a hard time staying connected, feeling a deep need to dive into digital, whether it's mindlessly scrolling, watching movies or shows, or obsessively reading articles. When you've realized that you can't remember something that you've done just for the joy of it. When you can't remember the last time you put your bare feet on the earth. For me, these are things that I know. I have a jar of joy. Let's go ahead and finish that out. Take those hands up. Palms face each other. I'm going to bridge again. I think I'm going to integrate upper body with low body because that feels like my body is ready for it. If yours doesn't, don't add on. So that jar of joy are ideas that I stole from an internet article on how to be a kid again. For me, when my life gets sticky, I get into business mode. Everything I do, even my recreation, has a purpose. Organizing drawers, getting rid of things, crafting signs, not just for joy and decoration, buying things if I have to go shopping that are only practical, not allowing myself even to spend $1 on something just totally whimsical. So one of those things in the jar is the next time you go to the store, buy something that's totally meaningless, but when you saw it, it brought you joy. I bought a bucket of panda erasers. My daughter thought this was the coolest idea, and I have 2 little panda erasers sitting on my desk.
It just make me smile. This is what children do. What point did we lose this? And when you invite that back in your life, the color starts to come back in too. Some of the other things that are in my jar, sit down and color, just to color. Not for stress relief or to make something beautiful, just to color. So, that's mine for today. My reset, doing one thing every day that brings me joy, childlike joy, for no other purpose than to be joyful. We'll go ahead and lower our hips down. And then as we set down the weights again, we're gonna log roll. Log roll, take that weight across. Log roll, take the weight across. Now, I'm gonna take that TheraBand off. Yesterday, I couldn't even lift my knees like that without an instant back spasm. Today, it felt okay. I'm definitely not moving my normal, but I'm moving through it. So I'm gonna find gratitude in the fact my body will allow this movement. All right, finding the back edge of the mat, I'm just gonna roll over to the side, log roll, and press back up. Mindful movement. There's that sticky hip. So I just want you to take a moment here at the end. Find a place that's comfortable for you. And if it's not comfortable, adjust. The body's giving me signals that this isn't quite where I want to be. But this is. Oh, so much better. Everything's wanting to settle in. And let's just take a couple good deep breaths in through the nose, out the mouth. Allow your eyes to open, not your physical eyes, but those internal eyes. And I want you to just take a moment and allow those places in which you're sticky and stuck to be revealed. Recognition is the first step. Once they're revealed, if you're not sure what to do with them, ask for direction. That spontaneous thought, for me, that's God speaking to my heart. Coming in and answering direct questions. I have found that my passive-aggressive tendencies of, I wish I felt better, don't elicit answers. No one's going to spontaneously come and answer those questions for you. But if you ask them directly, where am I stuck? What can I do today to make me feel better? The answers will come. Be purposeful, be direct, move to explore, move to feel, move to live a better life. Thank you for practicing your self-care this week. You are worth it. Join us at corporatehippiconnection.com for more lifestyle tips and tricks. And I want to thank you for joining me today in all of my vulnerability. I hope that you are able to be vulnerable with yourself too. Until next time.